For a decade, professional cycling ran like clockwork. The strongest team dictated the pace. The favourites played it safe until the final climb. Then, a 21-year-old from Slovenia broke every unwritten rule in a single stage, and in doing so, he broke the sport. That rider was Tadej Pogacar, and the system he shattered had taken years to build. For nearly a decade, the strongest teams, like Team Sky, later known as INEOS Grenadiers, built their entire season around a single objective: to control every moment of the race. The system was precise, almost military. A leader was chosen months in advance. Around him, a wall of domestiques, some of the world's best climbers in their own right, were assembled to ride at the front, set the tempo, and smother any hint of chaos before it could start. On the high mountain stages, 5 or 6 riders from the same squad would line up at the base of the climb. Each would pull for as long as possible, riding at 90 to 95% of the leader's threshold, burning through rivals' energy with a relentless, metronomic pace. When one domestique faded, another took over, always keeping the team's chosen rider sheltered until the final kilometers. Attacks from outsiders were allowed only if they posed no threat to the general classification. If a breakaway contained a real contender, the chase was immediate and ruthless. The script called for patience. General classification favorites rarely moved before the last climb. The real racing, the kind that decided careers and made legends, was compressed into a handful of minutes at the end of a long day. On flat stages, the peloton was a fortress. Sprinters teams at the front, general classification teams in the middle, every move calculated to minimize risk. Even the team time trial was weaponized. In 2012 and 2015, squads like Sky and BMC used the opening team time trial to carve out 30 or 40 seconds for their leader, forcing rivals to chase from behind before the mountains even began. This formula worked. From 2010 to 2019, Team Sky and INEOS won 7 Tours de France. Their domestiques dictated the rhythm. Their leaders, Froome and Thomas, waited until the final summit to strike. The peloton learned to expect it. Commentators called it the old rules of general classification racing. Control the chaos. Wait for the clock. Let the strongest team deliver the winning move at the last possible moment. But the story did not end there. The logic of control, the comfort of predictability, was about to face a challenge unlike anything the sport had seen before. In the small Slovenian village of Komenda, a boy grew up chasing his older brother's wheel through rolling farmland and narrow alpine roads. Tadej Pogacar was born in 1998, the youngest in a family that measured time in kilometers and heartbeats. While other children played football, Tadej spent his afternoons riding with local club ROG Ljubljana, learning to climb, descend, and suffer in the rain. His first coach, Rok Kozma, remembers a kid who asked for extra intervals after training, hungry for the pain that would shape a champion. By the age of 16, Pogacar was already making a name for himself. In 2016, he won the European Junior Time Trial title, beating riders from cycling's powerhouse nations. The victory was more than a medal. It was a warning. Here was a teenager with the engine of a climber and the mind of a tactician, unafraid to attack from far out or gamble on a solo move. His early results piled up: a national junior podium, a breakthrough win at the Trofeo Almar in Italy, and a string of victories that caught the eye of scouts across Europe. But it was not just raw talent that set him apart. The Slovenian development system, built on high-altitude training and scientific data, gave Pogacar the tools to turn promise into results. Family breakfasts were spent talking watts per kilogram and recovery rides. His brother Toilen, a strong rider in his own right, became both training partner and rival, pushing Tadej to dig deeper every season. The approach felt scientific. By 2019, the cycling world could no longer look away. At just 20 years old, Pogacar signed with UAE Team Emirates. He won the Tour of California, becoming the youngest ever to take a World Tour stage race, and stunned the peloton at the Vuelta a España, winning 3 stages and finishing 3rd overall. Each attack was different: a long-range solo, a punchy sprint, a perfectly timed move on the steepest gradients. No one could predict what he would do next. From quiet roads in Comenda to the podiums of Europe, Tadej Pogacar was no longer just a promising name. He was a force, rewriting what a young rider could achieve. The peloton sensed it. Rivals watched him, unsure if the old rules would hold. And as the world waited for the next tour, the feeling grew. Cycling's script was about to be torn apart. The sun beat down on the slopes of Isola 2000, the peloton strung out in a long, tense line. At 80 kilometers from the finish, the script called for patience. But Tadej Pogacar had other plans. He clicked into a higher gear and launched alone, against the mountain, against decades of tradition. Radios crackled with disbelief. No general classification favorite had ever attacked this far out on a summit finish. The road pitched up, 8.3% on average, with sections that felt like a wall. Pogacar's cadence never faltered. His power meter read numbers that left even his rivals' coaches shaking their heads. 440 watts sustained over 30 kilometers. His peak surging to 6.9 watts per kilogram on the steepest ramps. For a moment, the entire peloton fell silent, watching the gap open, second by second. Behind him, teams scrambled. Domestiques, who had trained for years to set the tempo, were suddenly out of the race, their plans shredded in an instant. The old rules, wait, control, respond late, were useless. Pogacar was carving a new path up the mountain, and no one could follow. By the summit, the gap had ballooned to over 2 minutes. Chasers, like Vingegaard and Roglic, were left looking at each other, hoping for a sign of weakness that never came. Onboard data later revealed the truth. Pogacar's average power output on the final climb was not just extraordinary, it was unprecedented for a general classification contender at this stage of the race. His coach, Inigo San Millan, described the effort with a mix of awe and pride. "We trained for this. Long, brutal intervals, teaching his body to stay calm while the world goes wild around him." He visualized every meter, every switchback. On the day, he rode as if he was the mountain itself. As Pogacar crested Isola 2000 alone, the race was transformed. The silence in the peloton spoke louder than any finish line cheer. The old system had been broken, not by a team, but by a single rider's will and power. For those watching, it felt like witnessing the moment cycling changed forever. Shock rippled through the peloton before the echoes of Pogacar's attack had even faded. Radios crackled with disbelief. Team directors scrambled for answers, their carefully built strategies unraveling in real time. In the days that followed, the racing world searched for a way forward. Jonas Vingegaard, still catching his breath at the finish, summed up the new reality. He said the only tactic left is to hope he has a bad day. That phrase, picked up by analysts and repeated across cycling media, became a shorthand for the sense of helplessness among rivals. Within a week, team meetings took on a new urgency. Jumbo-Visma's staff pored over power data, hunting for clues. Their director, Rob Bardiani, told reporters that they had to train for sustained climbs at time trial pace. He warned that if they did not, they would be left behind before the real race even starts. The old system of waiting for the last climb was dead. Now, domestiques were drilled for earlier, longer pulls, and general classification hopefuls were told to be ready for all-out war at any moment. Recruitment shifted overnight. Teams that once prized pure climbers and late-stage specialists began searching for riders who could handle high-intensity efforts over unpredictable distances. Scouting reports from 2025 show a spike in contracts for versatile all-rounders. Riders who could survive a 70-kilometer solo, then sprint at the summit. Sports directors started talking about building a team of Pogacars, knowing that the old hierarchy was no longer enough. Primož Roglič, usually reserved, admitted after the stage that they had to rethink their training, adding high-intensity intervals and more mental work. He said they could not just follow wheels anymore. Mathieu van der Poel, a master of the one-day classics, watched the footage and called it a new DNA for the peloton. His words echoed through team buses and press rooms. He said if Pogacar can stay solo that long, the rest of us have to change our playbook. Analysts noticed a shift in race broadcasts. The phrase "hope for a bad day" became a running joke, but beneath it lay a hard truth. No one could predict when the next seismic attack might come. The only certainty was uncertainty. Every team, every favourite, was forced to adapt or risk being left behind. In the aftermath of Isolao 2000, the sport was no longer about managing risk. It was about surviving chaos, and for the first time in a generation, the peloton had no script to follow. Now, every contender lines up knowing the script can be shattered in a single attack. Pogacar's audacity still echoes through every race. The old certainties are gone. Risk has become the new rule. And as the peloton adapts, cycling's future is as unpredictable as its boldest champion. Share your thoughts below.